He's on there. We can't see him.
I'm over there for that.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
The normal, sorry, for my pen. Commissioner Staten can't make it.
Say that again.
Commissioner Staten can't make it.
I know she's away. I think she was supposed to call in. Which son?
He's on, yes.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
You can hear us. Good morning.
So we have a quorum.
Yes, I can hear everyone loud and clear.
Okay, so we have a quorum now.
Yes.
That's right, Commissioner Staten did send an email.
Better be in person than remote.
Yeah, good to go.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
This meeting will come to order. It is to be noted in the book of the minutes that the required 24-hour notice of this meeting was mailed to the office of the Times, the Trentonian, and the clerk of the city of Trenton, as well as having been posted in the main entrance of the authority, 875 New Willow Street, in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law. Roll call.
Commissioner Gentry,
Here.
Commissioner Lopez,
Here.
Commissioner Raines,
Here.
Chairwoman Weldon Gore.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Yes.
At this time, I would like us to, would you like to introduce them first?
No, just do adoption and agenda.
Okay. At this time, I would like to adopt the agenda, please. Roll call.
So moved.
Oops.
Second.
Any questions? No questions, roll call.
Commissioner Gentry,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Raines,
Yes.
Chairwoman Weldon Gore.
Yes.
Alright. Thank you. So I'm not gonna say too much because I'm gonna turn it over to our professionals here today. Rick Janetti from the Brook Group is gonna start off to give an overview of the presentation. We also have Bakari Lee here from McManaman in Scotland, who is going to be serving as our bond attorney on this particular deal. You have George Silva in the room, and Mark, stand up, sir. Is Mark?
Alan Michaels.
Alan Michaels, representing the development team. So I would just say briefly, I feel as though it's a great deal that came the Housing Authority's way as a result of, the Housing Authorities really work in the community and being more visible. We were identified as an organization that could help assist with this development, and it's going to have financial benefits for the Housing Authority. So with that, I'm going to just turn it right over to Jeanette from the group.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett. Good morning. Thanks for having us here today. Appreciate it.
Oh, excuse me, I forgot Ozga. That was blocked.
I know, I don't think I could see you.
The thing was blocking you. I'm sorry. Ozga with Hill Wallach as well. Ozga Tarzi, who is and I always talk about Ozga. I want to let you know when you're not here.
Yeah.
Tell them what a great job you do for us on the
I
redevelopment
appreciate
side.
that.
Yes, he does.
So today before the board is a resolution authorizing the submission of an application to the local finance board to obtain authorization, or to actually have the local finance board review the financial position of your issuance of tax exempt bonds in the amount up to $27 million. So just a little recap. The developer of the project 240 West State came to the Housing Authority over a year ago to start talking about this project. Mr. Garrett had us do a lot of due diligence and research on how this will work. And we brought it to the board on May 8th. The board approved an escrow and funding agreement so that the developer would fund your professionals, your bond counsel, your redevelopment counsel, and the Brook Group to do the rest of the due diligence and to negotiate a term sheet, which went over the financial position or the financials of the project for the Housing Authority. In June, the Housing Authority Board approved that term sheet, and we entered that agreement in June with the developer. And the developer is ABC Merit Partners, and they're going to have a little presentation today, so I'm not going to talk about the building and the project. They're going to be able to let you know that. In our term sheet and in our transaction, one of the next steps that the Housing Authority has to do is the Housing Authority is the issuer of the private activity bonds, the tax exempt bonds that are going to be used to fund the construction in part for this project. We have to submit an application to the local finance board. The submission date for that application, the reason we're doing a special meeting, is August 21st, and the meeting date is September 11th. Your professional team will be at that local finance board meeting to make a presentation. Just a general, in short, with the local finance board, what their role is. They're going to review the financials of this project, and they assess the risk to the Housing Authority, the risk to any local government entity, the city and all, to see what the risks are, and they're going to make a recommendation based on those risks, whether it's the right thing to do or not to do. They make that recommendation. So you have a backup reviewing the risk of this project. And why are we here doing the private activity bonds, the tax exempt bonds? Because by doing this, it creates the opportunity for the developer to get low-income housing tax credits. 4% low-income housing tax credits, you first have to put over 50% of the eligible basis cost into a project to be able to get the 4% tax credits. The 4% tax credits are one of the major, if not the biggest funding source for this permanent financing this project. They're one of the biggest and they're needed. The HMFA will issue the volume cap, issue the tax credits through their mechanism. They've already gotten the 42M letter, which the HMFA reviewed the project and said we will issue you, based on this project, the tax credits. The New Jersey regulations allow the Housing Authority to be part of that. So what's the authority's role? And I'm going to be brief because you have some other folks here that can get into the weeds if you have questions. But our role will be to issue these bonds, and these bonds are secured by the property, as well as a private construction loan and the developer's guarantees. The authority will issue a bond at closing, and the construction start, and will be paid whenever the Housing Authority, like conduit financing, when the Housing Authority will make a draw, will make a payment, the construction lender will put into an escrow account the same amount of money. So the authority's money is always protected. The reason they don't just use the construction loan is by this Section 42 of the IRS code. To be eligible for the tax credits, you must use this tax exempt private activity bond. So they're going to, the Housing Authority is going to draw down money on the bonds that it has sold, and the construction loan is going to come in an escrow account and balance it. So you always have protected on the dollar amount that you have out on this project. These are short-term bonds. So when the project is complete and stabilized and the tax credits come in and the permanent mortgage comes into the property, the bonds are paid off in full and your participation in the project is over. And like I said earlier, the authority is receiving fees for issuing the bonds, and the authority's outside costs are being covered by the developer to get through this transaction. And I just wanted to let George and Alan have a presentation to make. And I do want to just say, McMahon in Scotland is your special bond counsel. They were brought in specifically for this project because of their expertise in handling bond sales in the state of New Jersey. And if you have specific questions, I don't know, Bakar, if you want to say a few words.
I'll be extremely brief. Rick covered everything very well. Again, my name is Bakari Lee. I'm with the law firm of McMahon, Scotland & Bauman. Was brought in to serve as your bond counsel in connection with this transaction. As an aside, I'm familiar with the Housing Authority. I did some work on the other side on the Turner Homes project, which at that time we were calling Turner Point, which at that time we were calling Page Homes. So I'm familiar with the Housing Authority and some of your operations. It's a fantastic outfit. I've known Jelani for some time and Christine, so you all do great work. My firm is a long-standing public finance firm. I cut my teeth in the space doing bond work before pivoting to affordable housing development as well. What we will do as your bond counsel is to lead the bond issuance process along. So we will analyze it came packaged with a standard set of documents for this project. So we will review all of those documents, edit, make revisions to the documents as necessary. We'll negotiate the documents as needed with their underwriters. The bonds will be sold pursuant to a negotiated sale with an underwriter that will then, sell the bonds to the secondary market. So we will work with the finance team, the bond team, in that process, and also ensure that, as Rick very clearly stated, that there's no risk to the housing authority, right? This is a conduit financing where the housing authority is going to issue bonds, but as he said already, as the bonds are drawn down, construction loan funds will come in and backstop those bonds so that you're never at a deficit position. It's a short-term financing, 2 or 3 years. Once the project is built and tax credit equity begins to come in, that pays off the bonds and the housing authority is out. And then they go forward managing the project on an ongoing basis, and the housing authority is out having gotten paid, earning a fairly substantial administrative fee in the process. So I'll probably lead the presentation at the local finance board. Pursuant to the local fiscal authority's control law, anytime the authority issues bonds, you have to make an application in order to secure positive findings from the local finance board as part of the process. So we have an application in that regard that we will submit, as Rick said, on August 21st. We expect there to be a meeting at the local finance board September 11th. We'll try to coordinate a meeting with the staff of the local finance board in advance of the formal meeting to bring them up to speed and make sure that they understand, so that in advance of the formal meeting, the staff understands everything that's going on and would have the opportunity to answer the board's questions in advance of the meeting. So all of that in an effort to kind of shepherd this thing along and make sure that we don't have any issues along the way or any questions that haven't been answered in advance. Again, as Rick said, the development team is here. They'll make their presentation, but between myself and Rick and the rest of your professional team, will ensure that this process is essentially non-recourse to the authority. So I'm glad to answer any questions.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any questions of us before we bring on the developers? You want to hear their presentation first? Yes, sir.
Go fast, Rick. Who's the local finance board? Is that city council?
No, that's the DCA.
DCA.
All bond issuances throughout the state go through the local finance board.
It's been a while, but I remember. Thanks, Lonnie. Thank you, Rick.
Yes,
George Allen?
Well, thank you all for having us here this morning. My name is George Sola. I'm CEO of Greater Trenton, an organization here, not-for-profit, and we try to, as a native Trentonian, and family's been in and around the city for over 100 years now, and so as an organization, we really try to advance economic development projects in the city to try to lift the city and hopefully benefit all Trentonians, not just from the past, but in the current and in the future. And so saw this as an exciting project, and working with the developers to try to work with them to try to make sure that we can find all the things to bring it together to actually make it happen. So I wanted to introduce Alan Michaels. He's one of the principals in the firm. Again, I'm just a consultant to the firm, so just as a representative of Greater Trenton. But Alan, again, is one of the principals, working with Mark Hall and another gentleman as the principals of that development entity. So with that, Alan, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, George. Thank you for having us here today. Appreciate it. We've been very excited about this project, and we're glad to get it to this point. 240 West State Street started life as a Holiday Inn back in 1969, and over a period of time, it sort of stepped down to an independent hotel for economic reasons, and eventually an office building leased to the state. now that the state lease is over, the building has been vacant. We purchased the building in anticipation of creating workforce housing in Trenton. There seems to be a huge need for workforce housing. A recent market study, I believe George has a copy, showed there was a 2,000 unit deficit in the city of Trenton for workforce housing, affordable housing. So we're here to help fill that void. Personally, I have an affinity toward these East Coast cities, these major employment centers. You know, these are great places hundreds of years ago, and they can be great again. And we've seen this renaissance in Newark and Jersey City and other parts around the state, and we're here to help Trenton also. That thing? Work church?
Yeah, one thing though too, so you look at the history of the property though, it started off as a Holiday Inn hotel. The entire thing was a hotel with a revolving rooftop restaurant and things, and I don't know if any of you have ever been up there or not, but spectacular views of the city. And then migrated back in the early 80s and mid 80s into an independent hotel, converted some of it into office space, and most recently it's been 100% hotel, or 100% office space. And unfortunately, office space, as you can imagine, especially post-pandemic, there's just not a lot of demand. And so at the end of the year, and even before that, there's significant vacancy, and at the end of the year, it was 100% vacant as an office building.
And likely to remain so over the next 10 years because the demand for office space is at an all-time level. You can tell that George created some of these slides, so there's a lot to add. Thank you, George. I appreciate that. Feel free to jump right in. I like it. So for us, workforce housing is, we're going to spend a lot of money to make these really nice housing units. There's no reason for us, with the benefit of the tax credits, with the tax-exempt bond issuance, to sort of have a tight budget on this. We can really make these units very nice. And these interior finishes will be as nice as a midline condo unit. You know, the granite countertops, the in-unit washer dryers. It's going to be a huge step up for workforce housing, particularly in the city of Trenton. This would work well in any marketplace, and we're excited to bring it to Trenton. We're also going to have amenities, including an outdoor pool. The pool already exists on the 6th floor parking deck, and there'll be an image of that. And we're excited to have that as an amenity with other places for the tenants to have common space, place for events, place for latchkey kids to do their homework in a safe environment. And there's a lot we can do here for the tenants of this building. We're planning on a fitness center on the main level, the lobby level. This used to be ballroom space, so it's really large open space, and it's perfect for a fitness center. And that's also going to be a great amenity for the tenants of the building. We want to have the cafe on the street in operation again, and that's another exciting reason to have people walk up to the building, be able to grab a sandwich or a cup of coffee or whatever this cafe to be determined is going to be offering. As the slide points out, on-site management and leasing office is a large operation. It's going to have a very large staff, and staff with local residents who will be trained by the management company. And we're very excited to bring this forward. And here's just a brief look at the building cleaned up along West State Street. And from the rear, you can see a lot of amenity space. You can see the pool deck. And it looks like there's going to be space for maybe half a basketball court, maybe a paddleball court, or multi-purpose court. So there's space for kids' activities. We'll probably limit the hours no later than 9 or 10 p.m. because bouncing basketballs make a lot of noise. So there will be rules. Still great to be able to offer this to the residents. Mentioned briefly about a market study that the city, we generated that recent market study that I referred to, George.
At Greater Trenton, we had a market study done as well, and really supplements the Noble Granite study that the developers did themselves.
Yes. These are just the fine details. Basically, the tenants, the benefit to the tenants is that they get a rent that's in the 10 to 15% range of lower than market rate rents. So that's real money. It's a few $100 a month for the tenants. Everything else here is just a performer from the market study. but we expect the building to lease up to 100% occupancy within 9 months. We think it'll happen a lot quicker, but I'll let the professionals have stated 9 months, so that's what it shall be. Typical rents based on these Section 42 requirements. 1 person to 4 person. If you have these are the income levels for the household, and then the number of people. At the bottom of the slide, you have the actual rents that will be achieved for these units. A lot of working people in the city of Trenton qualify for this housing. And there's no reason to live further out of the city when they can live right here in town and keep their money circulating in the city to benefit all the entire city and all the population here. This was touched upon by bond counsel. We already have the 42N letter, which is an important step to receive the federal tax credits. As was mentioned before, the federal tax credits can only be issued if we have the public bonds, so it's a multi-step process. And there's a schedule that was referred to a little earlier today, which brings you right through closing and financing, and we start construction December, hopefully no later than January.
One of the things too, you'll see that city council already passed a resolution of need, and so that was done some time ago at this point now, but that is in hand.
And that was unanimous consent by the city council. This is really more of the same regarding easy to hear about it from bond counsel as we did versus reading it on the screen. So let's go to the next slide. And who brings it to us? 8 years combined experience. Myself, Mark Hall, and Ben Edson. All real estate professionals, all successful businessmen. And as you'll see, we have several other projects in the pipeline also. But directly and indirectly, we've helped finance over 5,000 units through the course of our careers, billions of dollars in projects financed. We have 730 units under development, including the 170 units here for 240 West State Street. Just an example, just last month we closed on this 137,000 square foot. It was originally a bread factory in the 1920s, more recently used as a warehouse by Parker Jennings in Lynchburg, Virginia. Very excited about this project. It's a great space inside, historically designated building, and this will start construction in mid-2025. Just like 240 West, we're putting through the entitlement process of Section 42 approvals, dealing with local council there for approvals, and then eventually public bond issuance. Same thing here in Springfield, Massachusetts. 200,000 square feet to be converted to 188 affordable units. We have this project under contract. We have not yet closed, subject to the sale of resolving some environmental issues in the project. So when they get that cleared up, we'll have a closing. And again, this will be a 2025, 2026 project for us. And then we have 2,000 North Broadway in St. Louis, an exciting former warehouse. Another 200,000 square foot project with the 181 affordable housing units. We've already owned this project, and we're going through the entitlement process, just like we are with 240 West State Street. I almost forgot about Chicago. Former Sears and Roebuck Administration Building in Chicago was a pretty building. Very excited about this. 265,000 square feet to be converted to 200 affordable housing apartments. So we're doing our due diligence on this. And this is a very dense neighborhood. So what we're doing here is we're taking the first floor of this beautiful building, and we're going to have interior parking to solve the parking issue, because there's just not enough space. There are no, the infill location, there is no big broad parking lots available. So this is our plan, to provide parking for the residents.
And one thing 240 structured parking garage for about 190 parking spaces already in place.
Yeah, so they've already solved the parking for us, that's not an issue.
So that will stay, the
Yes.
parking will stay.
Yes, very much. Um, There it is, available for questions.
Good.
I have a couple of questions.
Good one back.
For one, when you thought about this, who came up with the idea for this project?
It checks all the boxes for us. We were seeking buildings that could be repurposed. So, um, basically, there are tools online where brokers offer, they're offering all types of real estate. It's loopnet.com. And there are thousands of commercial properties, and you can filter by size and style and other things. And this is how we were exposed to this project. So if you notice, the other projects that we share with you sort of are very similar. The one thing 240 West doesn't have that we typically enjoy are the historic tax credits. Buildings built at least 50 years old. And interestingly enough, this building may ultimately qualify for historic as a contributing factor for the Capitol Plaza. Right, is that right? So that's in the works in the background. So the project is certainly viable without the historic tax credits. But you'll see that these projects that I showed you, plus going forward, typical historic structures, formal office buildings, formal warehouse, that type of thing. And the markets, of course, have to support the workforce housing. And I think we all know from reading the newspapers, listening to the news, that there's a huge deficit for housing in general. And we had the extra benefit by having a reduction of housing costs for the tenants by going through these federal programs.
So what made you pick the housing authority to partner with?
You are the city of Trenton, and it's a natural place to go for this type of transaction. And of course, it's a benefit for your authority because there are fees that the authority enjoys. As was pointed out earlier, there's really no foreseeable risk because everything is collateralized. So as money, if your bond money flows out, the construction lender replaces it. So you're always at par, you're always at 27 million stays in place.
My next question is, there is an elevator in that building. Will the elevator stay or go?
There are several elevators in the building, and we anticipate keeping the elevators because nobody wants to walk 16 floors.
So we only doing studio, 1 bedroom, and 2 bedrooms?
That's correct. Very few studios, mostly 1 bedroom and 2 bedrooms.
What's important for me, that we are doing a lot of building, but are we building that we really have enough space actually for an apartment and not something that people are crammed into? No closet space. It's just there. The rooms are small just to fit these people in. And 9 times out of 10, we know that families grow. So we don't want to build something and put people in these apartments for them to tear them up so quickly. So do we have enough closet space? Is it just something that you can put a bed in and no dresser?
No, actually, we've been working diligently on this. And because we have been so diligent, it's actually delaying our process internally. Because we keep coming up with revised plans to try to provide everything you're asking about. All the units will have closet space. Most of them, even the 1 bedrooms, will have walk-in closet space. Okay? What we're trying very hard to do is make sure all the units have an entry closet for outerwear and that type of thing. So we're very conscious about these things.
Okay.
And we're working diligently to be sure this is included.
And knowing that you want to build 170 units, am I correct?
Correct.
What is the noise level going to be like? Because sometimes when you put so many people in you can hear everything that's going on next door.
Certainly. Most of my background is actually in the hotel business, and there's special wall structures that we build to mitigate sound. It has to do with how you mount the drywall and the studs, how you separate the studs from the slab. I get into a little technical list, but we'll be sure to include this to mitigate sound. But it's like any, we'll call it better hotel, you're not going to hear a lot of sound transmitting from one room, a couple minutes. And here you have the benefit also, instead of just having a single hotel room, picture it like a double hotel room. You have your living space, you have your bedroom space. There's more, the adjacent bedroom may not be next to the adjacent living room, where there's likely to be more noise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, here to help. More questions from anybody? Mr. Lopez?
Yes, I have a question. I think there's an echo when I speak. Okay. You can mute the room. I think it's coming through the TV instead of the microphone.
We can hear you fine.
Mute this while he's talking, I guess.
Yes, just while I'm talking, because it's like making it hard to
Oh, sorry.
speak while I hear myself.
You sound great to us.
Okay, thank you very much. That was helpful. So you partially answered the question already before asking it, but I was wondering what other either funding sources or options you were pursuing to help make this more affordable. You mentioned you might be able to obtain the historic tax credit. Are there any other things that you're looking into to help offset costs and, on your part, make it as affordable as possible? And now you can unmute. That's the question.
Actually, as far as we're concerned, our capital stack is complete. We have all the financial tools in place. And that's one of the tools here is coming through the Housing Authority. So if we do qualify in the near future for historic tax credits, all that does is reduce the amount of debt we'll have on the project. So that's really the benefit. But the project works very, very well the way it is today. And whether or not we receive the tax credits is sort of like icing on the cake. So I hope that answers your question. We're not relying on the tax credits. We don't have to apply for it. We do not have to have them approved. It's just something that we're pursuing. And we like the building. We think it does contribute. It's been on the skyline since 1969. And let's bring it back to the community in that way.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ray, do you have any questions?
No, they answered them.
Commissioner Gentry?
No, I'm clear.
You would now need a motion to approve the resolution.
Before you do that, can you just, either Rick or Bakari, or one, just break down the financial benefit to the housing authority, please? Just the whole $1 million. Okay.
I'll do this from memory, but it's
Was it in there?
No, it's in the 130-page document.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
I mean, the Housing Authority right now, the Housing Authority's already received an escrow account to cover your outside costs. At closing, the Housing Authority will receive 2 points. So 2 points if it's up to $27 million based on their capital stack and what they need, but so it's 2 times $27 million, 2% of that, which is if I can do it in my head, $540,000 that you get. In addition to that, while this loan is out, you get a 0.5% per year on that dollar amount. And that is as long, they're anticipating a 24-month construction period. It could go not more than 36 months, but you get a 0.5% on top of that. So you can do the math on that.
135.
135 per year will come in.
So we had a max of potentially $810,000.
Yeah, that it will receive for this project, to make this project available. With, again, minimal to no, I can't say there's never any risk, but I can't find it. And I think Mr. Garrett and me spent months trying to figure that out, and because it's a really good proposal. But it's a good proposal for them, because there's there's other ways that they could have gone about doing this that would actually been more expensive for them and had more restrictions on them. So it's good for the developer, it's good for the housing authority, and the city, before they came to the housing authority, they went to the city council to get a resolution in need. So I think the city is in support of this.
One other point that I will add, just quickly, is that you all will get another bite at the apple, so to speak. The purpose of this meeting is to authorize the application to the local finance board. We'll make the submission, presumably receive positive findings from the local finance board, and then we will have to come back to you in order to have the general bond resolution and the other deal-specific documents authorized by the Board of Commissioners. So, to my point, you will see this team again sometime in September, I would imagine, after we get past the local finance board. So you'll have an opportunity to see this again and ask any other questions that you may have at that point in time.
Thank you so much. At this time, can I have a motion to adopt resolution?
So moved.
So move.
Second.
And just to note that Commissioner Green entered at 11 a.m.
Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
No.
Commissioner Gentry,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yeah.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Raines,
Yes.
Chairwoman Weldon Gordon.
Yes.
That's it.
At this time, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much for your time and your patience.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Kicking around.